Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the first Adventures in the Forgotten Realms draft. So we've got Acererak the Archlich. So we should probably be looking at Venture into the Dungeon mechanic. He's a 3-mana 5/5 that we can use to repeatedly dungeon venture, and he's one of the most expensive cards, although the cards are not as expensive as like Modern Horizons, because this is kind of an underpowered set, it would appear. Yeah, he's definitely better than Hall of the Storm Giants. So, we'll be taking Acererak. I thought the interface was broken there for a second. So whenever he attacks, for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless they sacrifice a creature. Interesting. So let's see. There's Barbarian class, there's Wish, which I do need for Mono Red Storm in Modern. I need Wish, but I don't think I'm going to take it. See, Devour Intellect. Target opponent discards a card. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast the spell, instead reveal their hand. Choose a non-land card from it. Another card that's gonna go good with Ragavan, I suppose. Otherwise, there's Planar Ally. We could probably do Black-White Venture, because I remember seeing a lot of Venture in white as well. I think I am going to go with Planar Ally here. Although that's locking me pretty hard into two colors if I end up going that way, so we'll be paying attention to see what else we can get. Let's see. Black Dragon. When it enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent controls get -3/-3 until end of turn. It's a 7-mana 4/4 with removal stapled to it. That seems a little bit expensive, but I still think I take it anyway because of the potential swing that it can offer. I also have to remember that, like, with, with treasures in the format, it might be easier to get slightly higher on the curve than before. So when Temple of the Dragon Queen enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon from your hand. Enters tapped unless you reveal the dragon this way or control a dragon. Choose a color, add mana of the chosen color. Okay. Precipitous Drop enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. It gets -5/-5 as long as you've completed a dungeon. That seems kind of like the card we should be taking. Moto keeps telling me to take red cards and green cards, so I don't know what this is about. Really? Take the blue card? Let's see. Baleful Beholder enters the battlefield. Each opponent sacks an enchantment, or creatures you control gain menace. Hired Hexblade enters the battlefield. If mana was spent to mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, draw a card and lose 1 life. Manticore, when it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. So I see a lot of green cards, and I'm seeing quite a few black cards. I kind of like Hired Hexblade because it replaces itself. Bar the Gate, though. I think we'll try Bar the Gate because counterspells are generally powerful. So maybe we're doing like a black-blue thing. You see a guard approach, tap a creature, or creature you control gains hexproof. Unexpected Windfall is just an instant speed Pirate's Pillage, I think. Another Temple of the Dragon Queen, Yuan Ti Fangblade. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. I think we take this one. Shambling Ghast. When it dies, target creature and opponent controls get -1/-1, or create a treasure token. Probably that. See, Wizard class, you have no maximum hand size. Then you could Divination with it, and then you can increase the size of creatures. Let's try Wizard class, because it is an uncommon. I'm not opposed to Evolving Wilds at all. I think Fixing is going to be kind of at a premium, just a little bit. I would not mind a Hired Hexblade, but I'm not sure how much treasure we're going to make in black and blue. There's a 5-mana 4/1 that makes a 2/2 wolf when it enters. Enters the battlefield, target creature blocks this turn if able. Beginning of your end step, if a creature died, you may pay 2 life, and if you do, draw a card. That also seems powerful. I'm going to take the You Come to a River, because this is a 2-mana Disperse, or we can have one of our guys connect, which could matter quite a bit. Shocking Grasp is a cantrip as well as a combat trick, and that looks pretty tempting to me. See, Scion of Stygia is a 3-mana 2/3 flash. When it enters the battlefield, you can tap that creature or frost that creature. Seems good. I think that's better than Devour Intellect. I guess I'll take a Great Axe. I don't know if I'm playing it. Baleful Beholder. Could be like some random top end. Not 100% sure what exactly it is that I am drafting. We'll take a Potion of Healing for the sideboard, and we get Forest of Forest. Alright, so that's pack 1 for us. Okay. Froghemoth. 5 mana 4/4 trample haste. When it deals combat damage to a player, exile up to that many cards from their graveyard, put a 1/1 counter for each creature card, and gain 1 life for each non-creature card. Okay. Maybe I should have gone black-green. Let's see, Loathsome Troll. Roll a d20, activate it only if it's in your graveyard. I'm gonna take the Froghemoth, but I'm probably not playing green. Let's see, another Black Dragon, or Ray of Enfeeblement. There's Zorn. If you would make 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create that many tokens plus an additional treasure. There's also Contact Other Plane, which is a pretty good card advantage spell, but is also a common. I think I take Ray of Enfeeblement. Pinging off X1s could matter. Shrinking a creature during combat could also matter, but it gets upgraded versus white. Charmed Sleep, I'm pretty sure just being a dehydration is a good effect. Let's see. Eccentric Apprentice, when enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've completed a dungeon, up to 1 target creature becomes a bird with base power and toughness 1/1 and flying until end of turn. I'm going to go with Charmed Sleep because I kind of want some extra removal. Okay, let's see. We've got Pixie Guide, Grant an Advantage, 2 mana 1/3 flyer, or Arcane Investigator. Arcane Investigator is repeatable card advantage. We have a lot of stuff in the 3-drop slot, so I'm going to take the Pixie. Let's see, Drider. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, make a 2/1 black spider creature with token with menace and reach. Or Zombie Ogre, which is a 5 mana 3/5 with morbid venture into the dungeon on end step. There's a big card advantage spell that's uncommon. Let's take the Drider, I think. Let's see, Guild Thief. Whoop. I do like 50 feet of rope, being able to venture into a dungeon repeatedly. Guild Thief deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. 4 mana, it can't be blocked this turn. That is also good. Let's take the Thief. Room abilities of dungeons you own trigger an additional time. I've seen no way to splash thus far other than the temple, but this would be nice. It does not play well with the Tomb of Annihilation, though, I think. Alright, I'll take 50 feet of rope this time around. Horde Robber could be okay, but I think the rope is going to be better. I guess I do have Evolving Wilds. I could splash white, potentially. Let's take the 4-drop. I have no 4-drops right now. Contact Other Plane. Scion of Stygia is it's a flash combat trick, so we'll take it. I think I'm okay with Devour Intellect. Card I'm not playing. Take a card I'm probably not playing. Alright, on to pack 3. Pack 3, we've got Guardian of Faith, which is a 3 mana 3/2 flash vigilance. Demogorgon's Clutches, which is a Mind Rot, mill 2, and lose 2 life. We're not playing Moonblessed Cleric. Choose target creature and opponent controls, bounce it, top or bottom of their deck, or gain control of it. Let's take the Mind Rot. We have a lot of 3-drops. Varus, Silvery Moon Ranger, Sudden Insight, or Air Cult Elemental. Let's take the slow bounce, I think. The draw spell's nice, but another Drider, another 2 Baleful Beholders, a Feign Death. Okay, so this is basically Undying Evil. Let's take, actually, the Pixie Guide. Improvised Weaponry seems like great removal, but we're not in red at all. Drider seems like a pretty good payoff. It's a 5 mana 4/3. You know what? Let's take another Drider. Another Bar the Gate. Yeah, I would not mind a Silver Raven, but let's take Bar the Gate here. We need stuff other than 3-drop things, though. Herald of Hadar or Sepulchre Ghoul. Wow, I can't, barely talk. Yeah, let's take the Ghoul. Okay, Grim Bounty, definitely taking Grim Bounty here. Oh, actually, Dungeon Descent? I have a feeling we don't have enough removal, but Dungeon Descent seems like an excellent top-end, late-game ability for us. Oh, tap an untapped legendary you control. We only have Acererak, and we can only do this after we have Acererak on the board. Yeah, we're taking Grim Bounty. I mean, if Aberrant Mind Sorcerer were to come around, or we got another one after Grim Bounty, I would take it, but I'll take Soul Knife Spy, because I'm a little light on creatures, but even though it is another 3-drop, another 50 feet of rope, or another Disperse. I'll take the Disperse. Power of Persuasion, or Mimic, or another Sepulcher Ghoul, Sepulcher, I think it's Sepulcher. Not 100% on that. Take Power of Persuasion, I guess. Maybe we can get a crit. Spiked Pit Trap. Flash, 5 mana tap, choose a creature, roll 20, deal 5 damage, or 5 damage, and make a treasure. So 6 mana removal. Sure. I'll take the random 6-drop. You see a guard approach. Let's take the flash creature in the 4-drop slot. Another Yuan-Ti Fangblade. We get forced contact other plane, which I'm not upset about, and we get a swamp. Okay. So I think the plan here is to not splash white for the single creature. It's potentially really powerful, but let's see, group creatures separately. I'm not playing Great Axe. I could probably sideboard Ray of Enfeeblement at this point. Devour Intellect doesn't really strike me as be playing. Drop the Spiked Pit Trap. I do like Precipitous Drop. Mind Rot's generally a good ability, at least have one of. Bar the Gate, I'm fine with. Let's play only one Contact Other Plane. I don't think I'm playing 2 Baleful Beholders. I may not even be playing 1. I need to cut 5 cards? That's gonna be tough. Okay, let's drop Shocking Grasp. I feel like Power of Persuasion is one of my worst spells. But it's also pretty close to hard removal, because approximately half the time the card goes back in their deck. Let's cut 1 Bar the Gate. We do have some flash creatures. I'm going to cut this other Beholder. Let's cut Sepulcher Ghoul, because we don't really have a good sack outlet or anything. And Shortcut Seeker seems like one of our worst creatures. So I have a 6 and 7 drop, but I'm only playing 16 lands. I don't think that's accurate, but I probably should be trying to fit 17 in here, because I don't draw that many extra cards, but... Alright, I'll see you guys in round 1. Here we go, first draft. Hopefully we do well. Alright, round 1. And as long as we draw a land, this should be fairly decent, I think. I'm going to keep, because we are on the draw. Opponent leads on a forest. We draw You Come to a River. Play 50 feet of rope, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Scaled Herbalist. We draw an island. I kind of want to bounce the Herbalist, but I think we play the Guild Thief. Opponent does nothing. We draw Pixie Guide. Play a swamp. So they either are... I think they're missing a land, which means if I cast Demogorgon's Clutches, we'll be in a pretty decent spot. I think we just play Yuan-Ti Fangblade, though. Pass the turn. Because if they miss another land drop... Okay. Opponent plays a Soul Knife Spy. We untap and draw an island. Play an island. Let's bounce the Spy, because I don't want them drawing extra cards. Go to combat. Attack with the Death Toucher. Okay, we get to venture. Do I get to... Okay. I was going to say, do I get to see what's going on in these? Scry 1. Each player loses a life. So, Acererak synergizes with Tomb of Annihilation. So let's do Tomb of Annihilation. Then we'll play Pixie Guide. Pass the turn. Opponent is going to replay their Soul Knife Spy, I think. Ray of Frost. They're going to say it doesn't untap. We untap and draw a swamp. Play a swamp, go to combat, attack for 1 in the air, and I think we're going to continue to just build the board and play the Fangblade. Pass the turn. So opponent plays a land. They've been missing a lot of land drops, so we know when we cast Demogorgon's Clutches, they're going to have to discard 2 action spells. Never mind. Okay. We untap. We draw Scion of Stygia. So, go to combat. Attack here and here. Okay, we venture. We do not want to go into the Oubliette. Let's go to the Veils of Fear. Each player loses 2 life unless they discard a card. We're going to lose 2 life. Opponent discards Genie Windseer. Okay, so then let's Mind Rot them. So they discard 2 cards, mill 2 cards, and then lose 2 life. Card really makes me think of Blightning, but that's not quite accurate. There's a different card that does this. It's discard 2 cards and lose 2 life anyway. Opponent's going to put a land into play. They had Drizzt Doerden and Arcane Investigator. Interesting they kept that land. Opponent plays Ranger class, gets a Wolf. Then plays Soul Knife Spy. Then passes. We untap. We draw Swamp. Play Swamp. So let's flash in the Scion, tap the Wolf, and we rolled good. I was surprised we didn't get more of a... We rolled an 18, so it doesn't untap during their next untap. Go to combat. Attack with the Fangblade. Opponent is going to trade Soul Knife Spy for it. Okay. Pass the turn. This opponent is going to put a land card onto the battlefield. So let's say that creature doesn't untap. They put a forest into play. They have 1 card left, and they're not untapping this turn. Whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on an attacking creature, and then you may look at the top card of your library at any time and cast creature spells from the top of your deck. They have another Contact Other Plane. They have another Scaled Herbalist. We untap. We draw Power of Persuasion. Well, let's go Persuading. It went on top of their deck. So let's tie up the Wolf. Go to combat. Swing out. Okay, opponent goes to 7. They untap. They play Wizard class. They are now a Wizard Ranger. Don't you know multi-classing is bad? Opponent plays an Elterguard Ranger, which is a 4/1 with reach. We untap. We draw Manticore. I feel like I should probably just start cunning actioning this Guild Thief, getting in for damage. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Another 1/1 counter. Pass the turn. Yeah, I think I passed one of those Guild Thieves I probably should have taken. But its last card in hand was a land. Okay, they untap. So they're going to Divination off of Wizard class by taking it to level 2. And its level 3 is whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control. Okay. Opponent plays a land, plays a Shortcut Seeker. They go to combat, they're attacking with a Wolf. They change their mind. We untap. We draw an island. So play an island. Say the Rogue can't be blocked. Go to combat. And attack for 3. Opponent goes to 2. Rogue gets a counter. The last card in our opponent's hand is apparently a land, which is a Lair of the Hydra. So let's tie up their creature. Pass the turn. And they have to kill us or kill our Guild Thief, or they lose. Opponent levels up the Ranger class. Levels up the Ranger class again. They play a Pixie Guide, and that does not do it. Alright, we win. So knowing what I know now, do I want to make any changes? I think we're fine to just run it back. Okay, this is a mulligan. I will keep this, and I'm going to put back the Air Cult Elemental. It's going to be a long time before we get that far. So, opponent leads on Evolving Wilds. We draw an island, which is perfect. Play island, pass the turn. Opponent cracks, gets a forest. They untap. They play an island. We untap and draw Yuan-Ti Fangblade, pass the turn. I am going to unsummon this. I do not want my opponent to have the tempo advantage with a creature that draws them cards like that. Okay, play our own Soul Knife Spy. My hope is they replay theirs and we roll well on Scion of Stygia. Okay, they play a Windseer, so they're going to get to go scrying. If I attack and offer the trade, my opponent will likely take the trade, and I kind of feel like we should be drawing cards, so let's... Okay, we just get the tap, go to combat, hit them for 3. Okay, we draw an island. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play an island. They attack us for 3, take 3. Then our opponent Ray of Frosts and plays their own Soul Knife Spy. We draw Manticore. Play a Swamp. My opponent only has 3 cards left in hand. I think we're not going to get a better time for more value for this, so let's go ahead and Demogorgon's Clutches. They discard Lair of the Hydra and... Oh, wait. Yeah. And Ellergard Ranger, and then they mill Forest and Pixie Guide, or one way or the other. Not sure. Opponent has Spoils of the Hunt. That's pretty bad. Opponent gets to draw a card. We draw Charmed Sleep. So put their Ranger to sleep, or their Spy to sleep, excuse me. Then play the Fangblade. Pass the turn. I should really be looking at these other dungeons. They play Ranger class. They're going to hit us for 4. Okay, we untap. We draw Power of Persuasion, which is actually, I think, excellent here. The problem is I want to use it on their token. Let me look at the dungeons here. So if I do Mad Mage, I can gain 1 life, which might change the clock, but probably won't. And the second level of that is just Scry. If I do Tomb of Annihilation, each player loses 1 life. And Lost Mine of Phandelver doesn't really do anything either, so I have to Power of Persuasion here. I didn't see what happened, hang on. We put it on top of their deck. Alright, pass the turn. So opponent is probably going to replay that creature here. So opponent gets to do some amount of scrying. They do not attack. We untap. We draw a swamp. Play a swamp. I don't think I want to trade. But Manticore also can't be used as like a flash blocker to kill Genie Windseer, which is kind of a huge problem. Okay, they attack us for 4. We take 4 and go to 3. They play a second Windseer. There's nothing we can do to get around that. Okay. So I think what we're going to do is... I kind of want to drop Pixie Guide and play Contact Other Plane or Bar the Gate in its place. So let's try that. We have Guild Thief and we have Bar the Gate, and we're on the play. It is unlikely my opponent will have a 2-drop, but if we draw a land, this hand actually becomes excellent. Problem is, there's a lot that can go wrong. If we draw another land or an unsummon, this hand gets really good. They lead on Evolving Wilds. There's another land. Play Guild Thief. Opponent plays an Arcane Investigator. We untap and draw Wizard class. Play an island. If I attack, I'm pretty sure I forced my opponent to block, so I'm going to do that. Okay. Pass the turn. And I think what we're going to do is pick whatever dungeon allows us to scry immediately, which is Phandelver, because we want to draw a land. Okay, let's bar the gate. So let's go ahead and scry. Charmed Sleep is really good, but we need a land. Untap. We draw Yuan-Ti Fangblade. Play Wizard class, pass the turn. That is not good. Land is a lot worse this turn. Opponent plays a Genie Windseer. We untap, draw Contact Other Plane. Level up Wizard class, draw some cards. Okay, we get a Swamp. Pass the turn. Opponent's going to hit us for 3. We go to 17, untap. We draw Air Cult Elemental. So let's play the Fangblade. It's worse if our opponent has removal than Precipitous Drop, but okay, they have Bar the Gate. So opponent gets to venture into a dungeon. So they're going to Phandelver as well. Okay. Opponent untaps. They're going to hit us for 3. We go to 14. Then they play Ranger class. Get a Wolf. So play a Swamp. And we are going to go with Precipitous Drop, because this lets us get a treasure and then play Fangblade. So Mine Tunnels. Get a treasure. Then play Fangblade. Pass the turn. We can follow this up with either the Drider or the Grim Bounty, or if we draw a land, we can actually play Air Cult Elemental, but that lets my opponent re-get the Scry trigger. I think they're just leveling up Ranger class this turn. They are. Okay, they just cast that from the top of their deck. They're going to hit us for 4. I think we need to cast Grim Bounty this turn. We untap, draw Soul Knife Spy, go to combat. We're going to attack. Opponent blocks. Okay. That makes Grim Bounty an even better play this turn. I could have maybe played Soul Knife Spy, but opponent untaps. They play a land. They Ray of Frost our guy, and they're going to hit us for 4 off of Lair of the Hydra. So we go to 5, untap, draw a swamp, play a swamp, and we now have 7 mana. So I could contact other plane. Oh, and this gets a 1/1 every time it attacks. Let's contact other plane. Okay, we just draw 2 cards. And then let's play Soul Knife Spy. Hopefully our opponent does not have removal, because we're going to have to block. Pass the turn. They play a land. 5 mana. Opponent animates Lair of the Hydra. They have the fight spell as their last card? Oh, come on! Well, I don't think anything we had actually played around that, because they could have killed any of our creatures. That was close. Upsetting, but close. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright. I will be keeping this hand. We got a 2, a 3, and a 5 with 4 lands. Opponent starts on a swamp. We draw our bounce spell, lead on an island, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. We draw Charmed Sleep, so run out Guild Thief, pass the turn. Hoping our opponent doesn't have hard removal. I'm kind of hoping they just play a blocker, because we have like 3 tap spells which we can use to get this Guild Thief in. They make a treasure chest. We untap. Or they make a treasure, excuse me. I said treasure chest because I saw the art as treasure chest. Play an island. Then I guess let's go Scion of Stygia. Tap the Barbarian. It doesn't untap, which is awesome. This is going to be a huge, huge tempo advantage for us. So we hit our opponent for 1. Guild Thief gets bigger. Looks like they're playing a 4-drop, maybe. So we even have like 2 different pieces of removal here, so we can use whatever works best for us. Opponent has a Grim Bounty, so we lose our Guild Thief. That's pretty unfortunate. I don't want to bounce this Barbarian because I don't want them to replay it and get a treasure, but I'm also not sure it's good enough to Charmed Sleep. So let's go to combat, hit them for 2, and I think we'll just play Pixie Guide because it can block the Barbarian, and we'll leave up the Disperse part of Come to the River. Opponent plays a Chaos Channeler. Whenever it attacks, roll a d20, exile the top card, top 2 cards, or top 3 cards. Okay, so they have a 4/3. That might be worth sleeping, but I think for tempo advantage purposes, and because my opponent doesn't have a 4th land, I'm going to bounce that. Because if they draw a land, they have to spend their entire turn playing that. Play an island, go to combat, and I am going to attack with Scion of Stygia. If they block and trade, that's fine, because if they're replaying Chaos Channeler next turn, this Drider is going to go uncontested. And if this Drider starts hitting our opponent, and we start making extra spiders, that'll be fantastic. If worse comes to worse, and we just get completely wrecked by powerful removal or something like that, we can Wizards class and try to reload. They do have 7 cards in hand, so I mean, like, they could have removal. You find some prisoners. Exile the top 3 cards. They're taking a swamp. Clever. I kind of like that. You can do that. Opponent got rid of a Bar the Gate and an island. We draw Acererak the Archlich. Go to combat. Attack them for 5. Okay, opponent has no blockers. So we get a Menacing Spider. Okay, so we have some decisions to make here. We can play Wizard class and draw cards. Or we can play Acererak and Wizard class. I keep saying Wizards class like it's a class full of wizards, when I mean the class. Acererak also doesn't stick around, but he would let us start dungeon delving, basically. I think we're going to go with the Wizard class. Drawing some extra cards here seems pretty good. Alright, play an island, and we got a Mind Rot. With our opponent not making land drops, this Mind Rot will have extra value. We know that that land was our opponent's only land in hand. Okay. Opponent casts Faraday's Fireball to kill Drider. We untap. We draw Soul Knife Spy. So go to combat. Attack for 3. If we can get away with not showing Acererak to our opponent, that would be best. So we're going to play Demogorgon's Clutches because we know we're going to hit 2 non-land cards from their hand. We get rid of Unexpected Windfall and the Book of Vile Darkness. Wow, okay. Play Soul Knife Spy. Pass the turn. Opponent replays Chaos Channeler. We untap, we draw Grim Bounty. So this is just going to be a beating. Opponent is going to feign death the Chaos Channeler. It's going to come back tapped. We go to combat. Attack for 6. And I am actually going to Charmed Sleep that Chaos Channeler, because they could be relying on the Impulse Draw that it gives to find an answer. It is unlikely they have a Wrath. Alright, I think we got there. Sick. I think we just run it back. I might want the other Bar the Gate, but I'm not 100% on that one. I will keep this. So our plan is to play out the Fang Blade, try and get it to connect with the Scion of Stygia, tapping their threat, and then we can leave up Bar the Gate anytime after we play that Fang Blade. Okay, we're drawing lands and stuff, so that's good. Problem here is my opponent is on the play, so they are going to get to resolve the threat first. It seems like, to me, in this format, people are really playing a lot in the 3-drop slot. There's not a lot there's not a lot in the 1 and 2, and there's not a lot that's worth playing in the 1 and 2 of those cards. So I think a lot of the people, at least in the early part of this draft format, are going to be drafting what do you call it? Going to be drafting kind of heavy. So you're going to want to make sure that you have good value in your deck. Alright, so we play Yuan-Ti Fangblade. They play a mountain. They play an adult gold dragon. Okay. They're going to hit us for 4. They gain 4 because it has lifelink for some reason. I don't think I can leave up Bar the Gate here. I'm going to need to connect with the Death Touch guy. Go to combat. Attack. And I think we're going to go with the Tomb of Annihilation. You know, I was really thinking after my opponent got that treasure, I was like, maybe I should leave up the counterspell because they just got some ramp. And I regret not doing it, because that right now is our only answer to that dragon. We need to draw our Charmed Sleep, our Grim Bounty, our Power of Persuasion. There's a few different things we could draw. And I mean, we do have Contact Other Plane, so hopefully that can get us there. And in worst comes to worst, we can block with Drider because it has reach. Opponent plays a Valor Singer. Beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So they're going to hit us for 5 in the air and 2 on the ground. I am going to trade here. Okay. We untap. We draw Demogorgon's Clutches. Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent trades. Okay. Well, I hope they don't have an Edict that I just played into. Play the Drider. Pass the turn. Hopefully this makes them think twice about attacking with the Gold Dragon. Ideally, we can play Demogorgon's Clutches and Bar the Gate next turn. Opponent plays a Hand of Vecna. Oh, that dragon's gonna get +4/+4. Okay, so we cannot block. We have to take 8. Opponent has to gain 8, because we need this Drider to stay alive now. This also drastically changes my plan. Opponent plays a Swamp. If they play another thing, we Demogorgon's Clutches for sure, but... Okay. Time to Contact Other Plane. Let's see what the otherworldly entities have to say to us. They say you're screwed, bro. Play a Swamp. Okay. We're going to have to get a little bit greedy, but we need this Drider to stay alive. So we're going to hit our opponent because the spiders that it creates have reach. This does enable more of our opponent's potential removal. I imagine red has more ways to do 1 and 2 damage than they do to have 3 damage. Book of Vile Darkness and Hand of Vecna. I wonder if they have the eye. Then they just have, like, Vecna in a limited deck. That's gotta be good. I don't know if, like, it makes your deck like an auto-win deck or anything like that. Certainly not, because we beat them in game 1, but it's definitely good. And that's the game. So yeah, the only way we had to survive that was Drider blocking, but we weren't winning the game if we blocked with the Drider. Okay, run it back. Alright, game 3 will be on the play, and this hand is not keepable. Neither is this one. Oh no. Let's see if our opponent's mulliganing. They kept 7. Come on. Okay. I guess if I'm keeping 4 cards, I have to put back Drider, Bar the Gate, and I guess the clutches. I can't put back the lands because knowing my luck, with no redraws, I will not redraw any of them. And now that I've kept 3 lands, I will only draw lands. Oh my gosh. Okay, well we got a non-land spell. That's good. Yeah, this Fang Blade's gonna have to do work. We'll also probably have to do a different dungeon than I'm imagining we'll have to do the Dungeon of the Mad Mage if we can somehow start connecting. Play the Fang Blade, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Plundering Barbarian. He gets a treasure. We untap. We draw a swamp. Play an island. Yeah, we've got to attack. If they trade, they trade, but okay. There's no reason for them to fear a trick. We only have 2 cards left in hand. So let's hope for a crit. It's just like regular D&D. Opponent untaps, they play a land, and they play a Chaos Channeler. Ask for help from beyond. We get a Black Dragon and a Power of Persuasion. Alright. Well, those cards are good, but we have to get to them. Untap and draw Soul Knife Spy. Really wish I could double spell this turn, but I think we have to... Yeah, we've got a Power of Persuasion this. I don't think we can allow my opponent to attack. The reason that I say this is because they already have 5 cards in hand. Okay, it went back to their hand, so we did not roll very well on that. But if we allow that Channeler to attack and soon, what's going to happen is whatever my opponent isn't holding, they're going to draw. Okay, opponent replays Chaos Channeler. We draw Precipitous Drop, play Soul Knife Spy, pass the turn. So they are going to get in an attack. We can offer to trade, but I don't think that's a good idea. We do get to see what they are impulsively drawing off of Wild Magic Surge before we block because it's an attack trigger. Okay, they have Precipitous Drop, so it doesn't matter. Okay, opponent goes into the Lost Mines of Phandelver. They attack with Chaos Channeler. Let's hope for... Okay, they exile 2 lands. So in theory, they get a land this turn. We kind of need to top deck land, or we need to top deck removal for, like, actual removal for that Wild Magic Sorcerer, or whatever it's called. Okay, opponent plays a Hand of Vecna, but does not equip. We untap, we draw an island. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. Precipitous Drop, so we get to venture. Yawning Portal is gain 1 life, then scry. Twisted Caverns might keep us alive for a little bit longer. Okay, we're gonna do Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Pass the turn. Kind of ambitious, though, I think. It's also going to be the longest dungeon. So I'd like to draw land or Acererak. That would be good. Opponent equips Hand of Vecna. Oh, it's not a persistent buff. It's at the beginning of combat you gain that power. Interesting. Opponent gets a Swamp and an Unexpected Windfall. They hit us for 7 and we go to 10. Okay, the Unexpected Windfall. Ditching Unexpected Windfall. Making treasure. And play the Book of Vile Darkness. They make a zombie. We untap. We draw 50 feet of rope. Play it. I think we have to say Wild Magic Channeler or Chaos Channeler doesn't untap, but there's not a whole lot that this actually does. It just forces my opponent to re-equip the Hand of Vecna, and we still might die. They'd be paying 6 life to equip to that zombie. Opponent is casting Okay, you find some prisoners. They destroy the rope. They move Hand of Vecna over. They go to 10. They go to combat, attack us for 7. We go to 3. They're going to make another zombie. They're going to exile the top 3 cards of our deck. I mean, I would have liked to draw Air Cult Elemental, but I think the top deck was Pixie Guide. Air Cult Elemental just, is this a May? Return up to 1 creature. Yeah, so they don't even have to. Well, that's brutal. I was going to say, so to even have a chance, we need to draw a... Actually, we're just dead. 'Cause even if I kill any creature, they're attacking with enough creatures that blocking doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, it's only because we mulliganed to 4, because, like, look how good we're doing, even though we mulliganed. That's really frustrating. It's like, we can block any one of their creatures, but even without equipping the hand, we're still dead. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, round 3, here we go. I will be keeping this. Opponent leads on Swamp. We draw Manticore, play an island, play Wizard class. Opponent untaps. They play a Swamp, then pass. We untap, we draw another island, play Swamp, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Plains, then plays a Gloomstalker. We untap, we draw You Come to a River, play an island, pass the turn. I think we're going to go ahead and Cone of Cold their Gloomstalker. Opponent plays a Swamp, goes to combat. So play the Scion, tap Gloomstalker. Ooh, and we even rolled high enough to get it to not untap. They sack it to Deadly Dispute, drawing 2 cards and making a treasure. Okay. We untap. We draw Yuan-Ti Fangblade. Or Yuan-Ti. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'll be completely honest. Having actually played D&D, I have no idea. Go to combat, attack for 2. Opponent has Ray of Enfeeblement. Okay, so they kill it. We play the Fangblade. Pass the turn. Now, I'm actually really tempted to try and complete other dungeons with Acererak. Because if we could just, like, venture twice every turn off of 6 mana, why not, right? Opponent has Power Word Kill. Alright, Fangblade's down. Well, I'm glad we didn't play out Acererak just for, like, value venture. Opponent plays a Hired Hexblade. We untap. We draw Air Cult Elemental, play an island, level up our wizard. So we draw 2 cards, Soul Knife Spy and Grim Bounty. Pass the turn. So we're just going to leave up the Disperse this turn. It's the only thing we can do, but the idea being we can disperse, and then if we draw land, we can double venture off Acererak. Opponent Deadly Disputes their Hexblade. That's kind of interesting. They play a land. They play a Planar Ally. Well, the bounce is going to be quite good here, I think. Untap. Land? There it is. Play a Swamp. Yeah, let's get greedy. Play Acererak. Acererak? I actually have no idea how to pronounce that. There's an R in that word that I didn't know before. Let's do Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So gain a life, and I'm actually going to play Soul Knife Spy here. I'm going to play Air Cult Elemental next turn. I just realized, because if my opponent's going to play a 5-drop, then we're just going to bounce it again. Opponent plays a land. They have 6 mana. They have Black Dragon to kill our Soul Knife Spy. We untap and draw a Black Dragon. So I could Grim Bounty this, and I think I will, because that lets me play Acererak in addition. Okay. So we scry Power of Persuasion. I will keep, because it's an unsummon that we can also play Acererak alongside. So we don't even have to use the Air Cult Elemental yet. Opponent plays a Cave of the Frost Dragon. Then they play Planar Ally. We draw Power of Persuasion. So Power of Persuasion, Planar Ally. Oh, hang on a sec. Porter getting into stuff he's not supposed to be getting into. Alright, then play Acererak. I did not see if that went to my opponent's hand or not. Okay, it went to their hand. Alright, we venture. And let's go to the Goblin Bazaar, because that way we make a treasure. This way we can play Black Dragon next turn if my opponent just replays Planar Ally, because that will answer it permanently. Okay. Opponent plays a land. Then plays Horde Robber and Planar Ally. We untap. Draw an island. Okay. So now we don't even have to use our treasure. Play Black Dragon. Kill Planar Ally. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They Grim Bounty to kill Black Dragon and Portable Hole, stealing all of my wizard knowledge somehow. Where did they put the Portable Hole to do that? The side of my head? Man, D&D experts, can you do that to kill somebody? Can you just, like, Portable Hole someone's brain outside of their head? Because if so, that's hardcore. We draw Drider. Play Acererak. Let's go Scrying. Swamp and Swamp. I don't think we need more lands at the moment. And we can either play the Drider. Yeah, let's play the Drider. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. So they could animate the cave, and that would trade with the Drider, but they don't. We untap. We draw Bar the Gate. Play Acererak. So we can either make Skeletons, or we can Runestone Caverns. Let's Runestone Caverns, I think. Okay. Oh, you may play them. It doesn't say you may play them until end of turn. You just draw 2 cards, effectively, but your opponent gets to know what they are. Okay, play a Swamp. Does it say can be played? Oh, it just says can be played. Okay. Go to combat. If they want to trade their land for our Drider, I'm okay with this. We have so much value going on right now, it's not even funny. Deals damage to an attacking creature. Alright. I think that this card is a flavor fail. The first mode needed to say untap your all creatures you control, not creatures you control get 1/1. It should say untap all creatures you control. Because, like, all of the other cards that do that are white or green, and tapping is frequently seen as sleep. It's frequently flavored as sleep, anyway. Alright. So, opponent's going to attack us for 4. We're going to go to 16. Well, we can Acererak twice this turn and cast a spell from the top of our deck for free. Hopefully we hit a spell. We get a Demogorgon's Clutches, which does basically nothing. Play Acererak. Venture and Scry 3. Guild Thief, Drider, and Contact Other Plane. I'm going to put back these 2. Play Acererak again. And we've completed a dungeon. Cast Drider without paying its mana cost. Pass the turn. We have so many cards now. We just have to not lose. Opponent has a ton of mana and a little bit of repeatable value off of a land they can animate into a creature, but that tells me they got a combat trick, but you know what? I'll walk right into it. Or they have the Venture enchantment. Zombie Ogre. Creature died this turn, venture into the dungeon. Fair enough. So opponent gets to choose a dungeon to venture into. I think if we draw a land, I'm going to just complete the Tomb of Annihilation. Okay, opponent is also going Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We untap. Draw a Swamp. Okay, new plan. We're going to Air Cult Elemental, bounce the Zombie Ogre, and then leave up Bar the Gate. Go to combat. Attack for 4. They probably have to animate and block here. And then we can Bar the Gate, and this game's probably over. Okay, they animate the Cave of the Frost Dragon. They trade. Okay, we are screaming that we have Bar the Gate because we have a Yuan-Ti Fangblade that we didn't play. Opponent untaps. They draw. They play Zombie Ogre, which is what we will counter. Hopefully they don't have an even scarier follow-up. Okay, game's over. Okay, I'm going to bring in Ray of Enfeeblement because my opponent is playing a lot of white creatures. And I think I'm going to go down Manticore. The card is like underperformed every single turn. And maybe it's just because I built my deck wrong for it, but... Alright, I think this hand is keepable. It may not be quick, though. Alright, it looks like opponent kept 7, we kept 7, let's do this. Opponent leads on a swamp, we lead on island wizard class. Pass the turn. So if my opponent plays an X1 or a white creature next turn, it's getting the Ray of Enfeeblement. I think we're going to go for a rapid completion of Tomb of Annihilation. Okay. Opponent plays a Hired Hexblade. That unfortunately does not fit either of our criteria. Play a Swamp, pass the turn. Okay, they untap, they draw, they play a Swamp, go to combat, they attack for 2. We take 2, go to 18. Then they play a dungeon map. We untap, we draw Guild Thief, play an island, play Guild Thief, pass the turn, leave up Ray. This is kind of our bait for removal. Although maybe I should have played Acererak and started getting the dungeon delving going. I think the only reason they used Venture rather than Delve was because Delve is already a mechanic. And Dungeon Delve is a lot longer than Venture for templating purposes. Okay, so Guild Thief resolves, pass the turn to our opponent, they draw, they play a Swamp, they go to combat, they attack. No blocks from us. I think they're... Okay, Grim Bounty. Cool. Well, we're going to play Acererak and hope they don't have Power Word Kill. Never mind, we're going to play Yuan-Ti Fangblade. We don't want to play Acererak until we know they don't have instant speed removal that will kill him. Oh, okay. This is Deadly Dispute. They're going to sack their own guy. They untap. They play Evolving Wilds. They crack it. They get a Plains tapped. Then they venture into the dungeon. Okay, they're going to go Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Then they pass. We untap. Draw a Swamp. Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack our opponent. Opponent does have Power Word Kill. Play Acererak. Tomb of Annihilation. Okay, each of us lose 1 life. Then we pass. Opponent ventures into the dungeon. Gets to scry. That tells me they don't have a lot going on. And unfortunately, we can't go to the Oubliette with just Acererak, because if we do, we sacrifice him. Wait a minute. Do we? If you haven't completed the Tomb of Annihilation, return him to his owner's hand and then venture into the dungeon. Actually, we can. So opponent plays a Sepulchre Ghoul, it gets Ray of Enfeeblement. We untap, draw an island, play an island, play Acererak, into the Oubliette, discard an island, sack a swamp, play Acererak, Cradle of the Death God, get a 4/4 Death Touch. Okay, opponent ventures. They're going to say Twisted Caverns, Atropole can't attack. Yep, so they fog that creature for a turn. We untap, we draw Power of Persuasion, play Acererak, and pass the turn. I could have gotten greedy and activated Wizard class prior to doing that, but I think this is fine. Opponent ventures into the dungeon, so they're going to go scrying. Opponent passes, we untap and draw an island. Play an island, go to combat, attack for 9, make a zombie. Opponent takes 9, goes to 11, draw cards. Okay, we get Disperse, which is great. Opponent untaps. I could have actually dispersed Dungeon Map there, because I think their plan is to make tokens. But we can still disperse a token, Power of Persuasion another token, and then swing lethal. They exile Gloomstalker and Horde Robber, and that's the game. They play Horde Robber. Power Word Yeet. Pass the turn. Alright, cool. We won a match. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Though the last few times have been earlier than that. I like this limited format. I will be playing this limited format, and I will be trying to make slightly less limited videos going forward, but no promises, because just whatever I have the time to record is what I have the time to record. But, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. You're all wonderful human beings. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of July. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate your support. And if you want to have your guys' names show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon in the description down below. Thank you all so much.